I feel like there's an obsession nowadays of thinking people who wants to be, you know, like filmmakers, film directors. And to me, I'm more interested about making films, you know, than about being a filmmaker. I guess for me and for us, I would say, because we're a team that we know we've been working together for a few movies now. It was almost like a closing of a non-planned trilogy of movies. It was funny because we're doing a movie about the decision of having or not having kids, you know, and we're asking all together, you know, this question. And during that shooting, my main actor that I've been working with for a while, he realized that he and his partner were pregnant. So it was a moment of almost like we have to do it. We have to move while this is happening. We didn't have any idea, but just it was the urgency. We have 9 months, you know. We have to start shooting, and we're gonna build it, you know, on the way. So we didn't even have time to think why it was important. We just felt it that we had to do it, and hopefully somebody's gonna like it afterwards. In this context where there are so many movies and it's so hard because people hardly goes to the cinema. Tiger Composition, it offers you, you know, a place and spotlight where people can come and see them. Especially, you know, now we live in like an a globalized world where the film festival, you know, even, you know, if we like it or not, had like this big relevance in order to determine the life of a movie. I think obviously being here, it's great. It's actually my 3rd time in Rotterdam. So I came last year with my previous movie. It was called Anchor and Hope. We shot this one very fast, as you can imagine. But I was here actually for the first time in 2012 or 2013, because I used to work as an editor, and a movie I work in was called It Felt Like Love. Shot in New York, was here in competition. So it's actually my 2nd time in competition. Since I have memory, you know, and I've started hearing about film festivals and these things, you know, Rotterdam has always been one of these places where it's like a filmmakers, you know, it's a filmmakers festival where you come to see movies, you know, where obviously, you know, there's its part with, you know, the cinema art and a little bit of the industry, but I feel there's an interest to find voices, you know. That sounds a little bit cliche, you know, they have voices, but it's true. It's open to many different kinds of cinema, you know. That sometimes you see some festivals, you see, oh, that's that line, that's this other line, and I think here in Rotterdam it's open to many different things. So it's not. It's a wide scope of what cinema is, and for me, it's something very important. People come to see movies. You know, you go to the cinema. And there's actually audience, you know, some people that will never go to see a movie like ours, and they go to see it, and they make the most interesting questions, you know, differently. You know, some other festivals, you just like find press and industry people, and it's like, oh, that's great, but that's, you know, I want some other kind of feedback. I don't like to I will see if it comes, you know, we'll see what we do with the money. I don't know. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I will spend it in my next movie. I don't know. Maybe I will make more movies. Maybe I know I'm gonna drink. That's for sure.
But good.
The rest, who knows? Maybe I'm gonna be dead like in 3 days. That can happen. If I die, then the movie, you know, will be like, well, oh, it's the last piece. Yeah. No, I look very humble, but I'm not at all. I have like all this huge ego, and that would be like the ideal, no? Like dying and people come and see, oh, the movie that he finished, you know. But then I'll be dead, so that's no use for me. But I guess. So at the beginning, we just had some basic ideas and themes we wanted to explore. You know, we're very interested. Some of them, you know, were left out during the process, and some of them arise. You know, like the relationship with the other generations. But we wanted to kind of investigate how the fact of waiting for a kid, you know, is one of these moments that could tell a lot about our society in gender terms. In try to show the intimacy of a couple, and how a lot of things that arise from the moment of, you know, of when a couple gets pregnant. That was a little bit the departure, but so when I proposed them to make the movie, they say, okay, it's okay, but we don't want to do a reality show, obviously, you know. We want, you know, it's like, it has to be like an act of creation. So basically, it was funny how you were explaining a little bit, but we just started creating these like fictional characters that obviously they were not themselves. So the story is not exactly their stories, but we were just building the story as we went. You know, we will just we spent like a month separately first, you know, working on the characters and kind of different exercise, and then we put them together, and the story was created as we were going, you know, through improvisations, and I was manipulating them a little bit too, so you get.
It's called directing.
but at the end, it was a lot of them. It was like, well, it happened like this, so we recorded improvisation and started working with them, so they will feeling. The process will be like, okay, what happened these weeks? What, you know, what are you working on? What are you dealing? And then we will rehearse, and then we will think ourselves how these characters that is not you will react to these things, you know, you've gone through and everything. So there was always this degree of separation that, in a way, we thought it was important that in order to explore intimacy, they wouldn't do it if they had to represent themselves, because at the end we are always presenting ourselves, even in documentary, obviously, and we say, you know, we're always doing a performance of ourselves. And so the interesting thing for us was, okay, let's create a fiction that will allow us to go deeper, you know, and in a much, you know, precise way that if we did it, you know, just directly playing themselves. So that was a little bit the process.
And there seems to be a common thread, which I honestly just realized, about the level of intimacy involved with the characters and the actors and the close by. If you had like a huge set and 20 people doing your makeup and wardrobe, you're by yourself with your computer. That's a whole different working relationship, just as with the mother that you've known obviously for all your life. And people that are that are pregnant themselves and say, well, this may be a bit too far. How is that? Is that a proper?
Yeah, like for us, it was very funny because actually we started shooting in their apartment, but you know, they had to move like after the first, you know, weekend we were able to shoot. They moved just to the front door apartment. And
oops, that's
like in the same, you know, like, but for her it was great, you know, she was very happy actually, because what happens with an actress, you get pregnant, you don't get jobs, and actually she got the theater job at that moment, and they cancel her, you know, and actually we put it in the movie, you know, it's okay, the character is gonna go through the same thing, so for her it was like, whoa, that's great, and just like 9 months pregnant, I just crossed the door, just knock knock, and start, and and then the funny thing is like I just got without an apartment. At that moment, I came back to Barcelona, and I didn't have anything, so the apartment was rented too, so we could shoot, because they moved, and we had to, you know, keep the same apartment. So it's like, okay, so I just moved in. I moved in the apartment, so basically I was living through the whole production. I was living in the set that was decorated for the movie, but I was living there, and I still live there now. Like, my assistant director got, you know, separated at that time with his girlfriend, and he moved in with me, so we were all living there, and it was great because we could rehearse anytime. It was like, okay, let's rehearse, and then it was very, and you know, oh, that's mine, that's from the set, you know, the coffee, and I would make coffee and breakfast for everybody. That's my dream of a shoot, you know, that you have that time, and just like, we just shoot, you know, it was a huge production in the meaning, like we shot like bunch of days, you know, that if you calculate with your, that will never be possible in any other, you know, kind of logical system.